everyone, welcome back to part 2 of our 2019 Specialized Levo review. The new Specialized Levo is the most refined e-bike we've ridden to date. Aside from the way it rides, there are many few key elements that we believe keep the Levo at the forefront of the e-bike game. Simply put, if we're to choose one out of all the e-bikes that we've ridden to date, we just keep coming back to this one. We've had this Turbo Levo Expert for around 4 months. We've had some really great rides in our local trails and some huge adventures down in the Victorian high country recently. It's also been a very useful tool for us on our video shoots, cutting around heavy equipment and exploring new zones further afield. Without waffling at you for hours on every minor detail about this bike, we want to focus on a few key areas today. We're talking about the range, the app, the frame construction, the suspension, and those nice tidy little electric bits. Let's check it out. Okay, the range. Well, just when we were getting used to bikes with a 500 watt hour battery, Specialized came out with a 700 watt hour battery. That's a huge difference. It just means that we could ride from home to the trails, get a huge ride in and still have plenty of battery left in the bank. And all day missions or big epics just turned into a whole new beast. We could go big and long and far. In the case of an e-bike, extended range and a battery life is always a good thing. A big part about what makes this bike tick is the app. A Specialized Mission Control app didn't take too long to get used to at all. It's very simple. Predominantly when it came to fine-tuning the 3 power modes, it's very easy to do so. We powered down the eco mode to around 10 to 15%, which we found ideal for longer rides when you want to extend the range further. Also, if you want to make your legs work harder. In powered down eco mode, the motor pretty much makes up for the weight of the bike, and it feels like you're just working just as hard on the climb and technical trails as you would on a regular bike. We like the way the app gives you an accurate reading of the remaining battery and the way that you can plan a ride so you never run out of battery depending on the distance. And the ability to turn off all the beeps and lights on the display in stealth mode is pretty nifty too. Let's talk about the suspension. Well, jumping around between a lot of the other bikes we have in the market, the Levo just feels very balanced and bang on. The Norco Sight VLT and the Trek Powerfly LT are notable mentions as well, but there have been countless moments where we've totally forgotten we're riding an e-bike. And it seems to do away with that lumpy and overwhelmed suspension that heavy e-bikes suffer from. When ridden hard and fast or landing really big, large drops, this thing is so impressive and composed. Let's look at the frame construction. Well, just like the stump jumper, the Levo is very well put together. And when in the work stand, it's a pleasure to work on. The internally routed cable guides take the pain out of changing cables and brakes, and the frame is also clean and neat. There's also space for a water bottle, of course, and the SWAT tool stored in the steer tube here is literally gold. And it wouldn't be an e-bike without talking about the electrical parts. Well, I guess it feels like in the industry, e-bikes are still relatively new, so a lot of the brands and models are still trying to figure out how to integrate all those electrical parts into a mountain bike cleanly and neatly. Specialized seem to be a long way down that path, and the Levo is just really neat and aesthetically very pleasing. While some e-bikes can feel like you're riding with an old Nintendo Game Boy strapped to your handlebars and electrical bits compromising on ergonomics and aesthetics, the Levo is ultra orderly. The slim remote adjuster doesn't get in the way of the dropper post, and the button indicators integrated into the frame of the top tube is completely out of the way, and we really like that. The speed sensor on the rotor bolts and the pickup under the rear axle is nearly invisible, and there are just no excess wires flapping around. It's just super neat. We keep saying neat. It's neat. What have we changed? Well, the first thing we did was upgrade the brakes from the Coda, so the Coda RSCs with a nice lever feel, and we jacked the fork up from a 150mm travel Pike to a 160mm travel Lyric. While it is a heavier fork, the stiffer chassis and sort of overall burliness of the Lyric made a big difference to the front end stability of the bike. Under hard braking and heavy landings, the Pike just felt a little bit light at times. The increase in height of the 160mm fork didn't seem to affect the geometry too much, and we could drop the cockpit down to gain a nice aggressive handlebar position. What would we like to change next? Well, the dropper poster seems to always feel like it's lubricated with seashells and sand. We probably prefer a classic sort of hydraulic post. Even in the lower model Specialized, that X-Fusion Manic feels really nice. and we're still very keen to try this bike with 27.5-inch wheels. Yes, we're still on the fence about the wheel size thing for this particular bike. It's not like it handles poorly with 29-inch wheels, but there's just no doubt that a 27.5-inch wheel e-bike just handles the tighter turns and drops into corners a little bit easier. So stay tuned for our verdict on that. The wheel size debate continues. I'm sorry. It is time for a little bit of maintenance love too. There's a little creak down in the frame down there somewhere, noticeable when the motor power comes on and off. Likely to be a frame hardware or engine mount thing. We'll come back to you on that one. Otherwise, this bike has endured a lot of riding in all types of weather, and it is running sweet.